Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Ecclesiastes with Brady Randall.
We conclude chapter 8 today with two verses that I believe bookend the entire chapter. Verse 1 asks the question, "Who is wise?" begging the question as to who can and how can one attain wisdom. And verses 16 and 17 speak to this. "When I applied my mind to know wisdom and observe the labor that is done on the earth, people getting no sleep day or night, then I saw all that God has done. No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it." So Solomon says that when I really tried to sit down and figure it all out, when I applied my mind to genuinely knowing wisdom and I observed all the labor that is happening on the earth, people not getting sleep, then I saw that all that God has done, and here is his conclusion: no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite their effort to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim to know, they don't really comprehend it. Now that sounds kind of discouraging. Is this text saying that we should just throw up our hands, not even try and understand anything because we can't figure it out anyway? One of my worst subjects in school was math. Specifically, I remember pre-calculus. And math was never intuitive or natural for me. Here's how my experience would often go. If I understood it right away, if I could apply it, it was great. At least it was fine. 2 times 2 is always 4. You can't screw that up. But if I got an assignment and I didn't understand it, and I'm sitting there by myself at home, I'm racking my brain, I'm making no progress, I'm stuck, I'm extremely frustrated, it didn't make sense, and I begin to build up a strong resentment for math in general. I'd ask questions like, when in the world am I ever going to use this in real life ever again? And then for a season, I got a math tutor. And when I was able to express my frustration to him and vent, he would help me see where I was in error, help to get me on the right track, to get the right answers. And on my own, I just threw up my hands in resentment, but with a wiser tutor, things made more sense to me. And I think this is a little bit what Solomon is getting at. I believe there's genuine wisdom in Solomon's final explanation in this chapter. Genuine wisdom realizes that we don't and we can't figure it all out on this side of eternity. And real wisdom has the humility to admit as much. But again, this is so liberating because you've carefully tried to figure out why a certain person acts the way they do. You prod and you plod and you psychoanalyze, and you may never figure them out. You may never figure it all out. And surely this is the way of God from the beginning. We are so finite and God is infinite. So how can our tiny minds think that we can ultimately comprehend the mind of God? God's ways and his thoughts are so much higher than ours. Deuteronomy 29:29 says that the secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and our children forever, that we may follow all the words of the law. So real wisdom is the ability to say, I don't have it all figured out. I can't figure it all out, but God does. He's got this and he's got me. In our pride, sometimes we think that we know a better way than God. Like if I was God, I would do it this way. But Bible teacher J. Vernon McGee once said, this is God's universe and God does things his way. You may have a better way, but then again, you don't have a universe. And I love that. And so whatever you're trying to figure out right now, I want to encourage you to lift your eyes to him who knows all things and holds all things, including you, in the palm of his hand. I want to end our time in Ecclesiastes 8 over this week with this declaration from the end of Romans chapter 11, and I invite you to make this your prayer. Oh, the depth of the riches of the wisdom and knowledge of God. How unsearchable his judgments and his paths beyond tracing out. Who has known the mind of the Lord, or who has been his counselor? Who has ever given to God that God should repay them? For from him and through him and for him are all things. To him be the glory forever. Amen.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.